Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Well, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to this long weekend edition of Primetime Local News. Of course, we're just one more day for the long weekend. Connor Chan and Abby St. John here to wrap up the week for you. Got lots of local content on the go today, including our question of the day. With that long weekend coming up, we're asked, are you going to go camping? Because that's a common activity people like to do on the Victoria Day long weekend.
I'm not. I'm going back home, but I am staying at home. No camping for me.
Not even the backyard, you know, it's just like one of those like pop-up tents you just...
No, haven't done that since I was like 13.
Fair enough. I've never done anything like that, and I probably never will, but we'll get to that later on into the show. But right now, let's send over to Eric Bay, who was on location today.
Thanks, guys. Well, today we're at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, where last time we did some pour painting, testing that out. But today you are looking at right here what is an electricity burnt resin table. So we're going to go through the process of actually making one of these. You don't get to actually burn it yourself, but we will take a look. You see there's a couple different stains here, how to stain it, and again, just finishing that product and maybe making some nice, maybe patio furniture for you now that the weather is getting a little warmer. So that's all from here for now. We'll go back into the studio.
Thanks, Eric. Well, fire crews responded to a call about a kitchen fire early this afternoon. Crews responded to the call on the 4700th block of 45th Street to a kitchen fire where fire crews extinguished the flames.
Fire crews did respond and extinguish the kitchen. Crews now are doing a secondary check to make sure there's no flame expansion into the roof area, and just doing a thorough check to make sure that everything's safe.
The people who were home at the time of the fire got out safely. The fire is currently under investigation and not deemed suspicious. A husband and wife duo is bringing movie magic to Cold Lake. Moments in Space-Time has been filming in the region, and Eric Bay has more on the drama that features a familiar Hollywood face.
John Rhys-Davies, better known by Lord of the Rings fans as the Dwarf Gimli, has been in Cold Lake filming Moments in Space-Time, delighting fans and co-stars alike.
He's wonderful. He's such a talented guy, and he's like I said, he's not just a friend and a coworker, but he's also my mentor. So to me, that means a lot for someone so skilled to willing to do that to me.
The script is what attracted Rhys-Davies to the movie in the first place, but he says the community has been a joy to work in.
The quality of the script, first of all, and coming here, the quality of the community, frankly, is devastatingly wonderful. The crew is always marvelous. The crew are marvelous on this one. But the community is so warm and so welcoming. You're just a very open-hearted community. You're good people.
The movie follows Sirsawan, who has to take care of her grandfather suffering from dementia, played by Rhys-Davies.
A lot of it was taken from real life. The character John Rhys-Davies plays Mason, the grandfather, was, pretty, I would say, largely inspired by my real grandfather who had dementia, and we'd looked after him, and he passed away recently as I was writing the screenplay, and so I really wanted to do it in a way that was true to him.
Moments in Space-Time will continue filming in Cold Lake and is expected to be released this fall. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
The Border City Petting Zoo has officially opened its doors for the season. From reptiles to goats and sheep to lions and wolves, the zoo has it all. What makes it different from other zoos is that you get to pet most of the animals.
No other zoos have anything kids can touch. We get people coming from all over the place, Edmonton, Saskatoon, everywhere, just to come and they get to pet the animals. No other zoo lets you touch anything.
The thing that brings people back every year is being allowed to touch most of the animals.
Children remember touching things. Walking along and seeing an animal in this pen, walking to the next pen, they find it interesting. But when they actually get to touch the animals, that's what they remember.
Later this month, the zoo will be getting a riding camel and baby timber wolves for people to play with. For more information, visit the Border City Petting Zoo Facebook page. As a part of Bike Safety Week here in the Border City, locals were invited to hit the trails with a man usually known for politics rather than pedaling. Our Josh Park has the story.
Everybody ready to go?
Lloydminster Mayor Gerald Albers served as the pack leader for a wave of bikers Thursday night. The group weaved their way through the trails of Lloydminster as a way of promoting bike safety and exploring the riding amenities the city has to offer.
It was great to see some trails that I hadn't experienced before. I think there's some hidden secrets in our city that are just gems, and I hope people get a chance to get out, walk them, ride them on a bike, take a wagon, whatever works for you to get your family out, and it's a great opportunity.
For many bikers, like Mark Beauchamp, it's fitness along with the enjoyment of the ride that makes biking worth the efforts.
Enjoy the air, enjoy the scenery and landscape. Like, there's so much more to enjoy than just getting out, but the fitness aspect of it is just, that's what I do it for.
Bud Miller Park was the finish line for the evening ride, where bikers were treated to snacks, prizes, and got to meet the man himself.
It's a great opportunity to meet people I haven't met before. People that have met me before come up and say, you know, maybe you don't remember me, but I've had a chance to meet you before, and it's great.
No, it was cool having the mayor out. It was fun. It was a good, enjoyable ride.
As part of encouraging safe riding, police officers will also be giving out positive tickets this summer to those practicing safe habits, such as wearing a helmet. Young or young at heart, safe riding along with having fun is top priority when hitting the pavement.
Cycling is one of those things where you can kind of take it at your own pace. So I think we've all had opportunities as kids to bike, and the reality is it's a lot of fun to do that as an adult as well.
I liked how you didn't have to race and it was just a nice, easy ride.
Josh Park, Primetime Local News.
Borders City residents and the RCMP officers put their common interest coffee to good use yesterday. The first Coffee with a Cop event was held at a local Tim Hortons. The RCMP wanted the chance to talk to citizens in a less official setting.
Community engagement is one of our priorities going forward for this current year, and we like I said, we just want to get out and you know, have some informal conversations with people and see what they have to say about public safety here.
It gave people an opportunity to talk about their concerns and what they want with the RCMP in a face-to-face conversation.
We want to just talk to people and see, hear what people have to say about, you know, public safety in the city of Lloydminster, policing in the city of Lloydminster, and you know, what are we doing well? What are some of the challenges, and what are some of the areas that we might want to focus on going forward? So,
Brockman says they've done events in the past with school students, but wanted to talk with more residents as well. Building a house can be quite the process, with gathering the material and manpower needed to do the job. This year, a local business mustered up the means and built a playhouse in support of a local cause. At the start of May, BioClean employees put on their hard hats and started working on a fun house. It was set up at the Muck Run, where children got to try it out.
We had the little muckers there on the weekend. We couldn't let them in when they were dirty, but we let them in beforehand and after they bathed, and they were all over it. Mom, Dad, buy us a ticket. This is fantastic. We can't wait to have friends over. We can't wait to sleep in the backyard because it locks up. It's safe and secure. It does have a locking system as well, and so it's something that any child's going to enjoy.
The materials for the house was supplied by their sponsors and is being raffled off to raise money for the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation's Project Sunrise. The project is aimed to help citizens of Lloydminster with their mental health. The tickets are $20 and the goal is to reach $10,000.
We have one-on-ones with our staff. If your mental health is suffering in any way, you're not going to succeed as an individual, unfortunately. You're going to be held back. You're going to be stuck in place. People have to take care of their mental health.
The raffle ticket sale ends on June 14th, and if you'd like to donate to Project Sunrise, go to Lloydminster Region Health Foundation's website and search up Project Sunrise. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Well, today I am joined by Loya Sales and Amber Fast, and we're talking about another class they do have coming up, the electricity burnt resin table. So first off, can you maybe just talk a little bit about, you do make these designs yourself, so can you talk a little bit about that?
This is actually called the Lynchenburg burning process. Some people also call it wood fracking. I have a little machine that I use and a solution that I make up to put on the board. I clip the clips to it, I set the electricity to it, and this is what happens. So we have really no control over how it burns, just where it burns. And every different style of wood gives us a different pattern. No two pieces will ever be the same. ever in any way. So it's what I find is the most beautiful part about it, is that you get different designs and different colors, and usually in every piece there's a hidden picture within the picture.
And now you see we have some parts here that obviously make up
Yes.
the base, so how does that, I guess, kind of fit together and go onto the table?
So what we're going to do is we're going to build just a standard H-frame out of the threaded fittings, and we get to screw them together ourselves, and it's actually a lot more fun than what somebody might think. And once it's assembled, we screw it to the bottom base, and from there we can finish the painting and continue on with the resin.
And so obviously the class is still coming up, so if people do want to join, how can they do so, and what is the cost?
They can contact us here, and the cost is $275. I know like some people might think that's extreme, but really it's not, because the amount of time and work and prep that we put into this is quite extensive in reality, and even the hardware itself. But we want to give a very unique, different piece of furniture that somebody can be very proud of.
All right, perfect, thank you. We're going to have a little bit more coming up about the process of actually making one of these tables, but first we'll go back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Take a look at your current temperature right now, 16 degrees still for us here at Lloydminster. There's still some sunshine as the sun is going to set in just a couple of hours here, but still nice temperatures nonetheless. It did feel a little bit cooler today given the wind, though, as it's still over that 30-kilometer-an-hour mark. It's a little bit more than what we thought it was going to be from yesterday. It was just over the 20-kilometer mark. So records for this time of year, warmest day was 29 degrees back in 2006, while -3 was our coolest back in 2015. So take a look at the satellite radar map right now. Not a lot of cloud and precipitation activity. That's more further out west there, but for that long weekend, and for those that are wondering, there's going to be some cloud coverage and some sun, but no chance of any type of precipitation in the immediate future. So take a look at some other current temperatures. 17 in Cold Lake, 16 in Athabasca, 17 degrees in Edmonton, 13 for Red Deer, Edson, 14 in Whitecourt and Jasper, 11 degrees in Rocky Mountain House, 17 in Meadow Lake, 16 degrees for Prince Albert, 16 also out in Saskatoon, 14 degrees in Melfort, and 15 degrees for North Battleford. So let's take a look at some regional temperatures going a little more in depth. 2 degrees overnight in Cold Lake with cloudy skies, warming up to 15 degrees tomorrow with some sun and cloud mixed there. Cold Lake sitting at 3 degrees overnight with some cloud coverage, and then mostly sunny skies tomorrow with a few clouds with a high of 16 degrees. Out in Lloydminster for us tomorrow, 2 degrees with cloud coverage overnight, warming up to 16 tomorrow as well with mostly sunny skies and a few clouds. The wind will still be over that 20-kilometer-an-hour mark, so it might feel a little bit cooler. Sunday will be a lot clearer. We'll see a few clouds there, but mostly sunny with a high of 16 and a high of 18 on Monday, as we're expecting some winds from that south reaching close to 20 kilometers an hour again, but it's going to be mainly clear for the most part. That's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Well, putting out a fire using a fire extinguisher is an important skill to learn at any age. Gerard Lampow meets some kids who are getting a hands-on lesson.
They're learning where fires start, how they can start, and realizing that in agriculture, they can start everywhere.
We learned that if you were to have a fire, you'd put it out with a fire extinguisher, water, or you could take away the oxygen with like a chemical, and you blow out the fire by the base of it, not by the flames.
Farm Safety Day is tackling fire safety with tips like checking fire extinguishers annually to ensure they're working properly. These kids are getting some hands-on lessons.
Well, we certainly teach them what to do in the event of a fire, certainly in a building, in a structure, in a house, so that they're better prepared if they hear a fire alarm and their parents aren't accessible. So we teach them that. We teach them how to check to see if fire extinguishers are in good and working order, and how to read the instructions in terms of which extinguishers work in which situation.
It's also important to do some spring cleaning around your home.
It's always get rid of clutter. Make sure that if you're using anything with a motor, anything with an engine, anything with an open flame, that you're keeping it clear of that kind of debris. And make sure that when you're done using a piece of equipment, that it is absolutely away from anything that could turn into fire. Bottom of the fire. Right there. Squeeze it. Good job.
The kids are having a fun safety day with lots of knowledge to take home.
It's always good to show rather than tell. And if a person can experience it and see success, they'll remember that.
We push down on the handle and we sweep from side to side, aiming at the base of the fire.
Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
That's all for Ag. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Auto Body team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Once again, Lloydminster's football talent will be on display at Senior Bowl weekend in Calgary on Monday. Nathan Zacharias, Dante Tabaku, Evan Ide, Dominic Keiko, Nash Etson, Cullen Wagner, and Grayson Christie will suit up for Team North, while in the Junior Bowl, Jake Oreo and Chaston Waker will take the field. Barons coach Aaron Harper is the head coach for the junior game for the first time after working as an assistant in the senior game last year.
For the national tournament as well, or the Western Canadian tournament, and it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see some of the young talent in the province. A couple of Lloyd guys on the team, get a chance to do their stuff.
The bowl appearance for Zacharias ends a spectacular senior season for the running back, helping the team to a Wheatland title and Tier 2 provincial championship.
Was our most valuable player this year, and it seemed like every time we needed somebody to make the play, he was the guy who would make it.
Raiders head coach Vince Oreo is also on Harper's staff for the juniors, while Brett Hotchkiss and Paul Wayward are on the sidelines for the Senior Bowl. The Northwest Prairie Pirates are halfway through their round robin at the Saskatoon Selects Tournament. The Pirates have struggled thus far with a pair of error-filled defeats to Regina and Munster, and will need to win their last 2 games to have a shot at playing on Sunday. Game time has started already at 6 o'clock. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are here at the Lloyd Cultural and Science Center. I'm joined by Amber Fast and Loya Sales, and Amber is going to start off by showing me how to actually start this project with the painting, or staining that is. So can you just maybe, how do we start this?
So you get your own 2x2 piece, and then we have different stains to choose from. You can also choose from paint, or we do have an inlay option, which may be a little bit more tedious depending on how much work you want to put into it. You could do 2 coats. I suggest do 1 coat and then give it a wipe and see what you like. If you want to do another one, you're more than welcome.
And now that one is kind of a fairly finished product just based on the staining itself, and you did just briefly mention the inlays. So how does maybe the process, while I'm trying to cover this here, how does that process work with the inlay?
So choosing what you want to put in there, we have a bunch of different resin dyes that we could color the resin and put it in. We have quartz, and then there's this beautiful gold. It's not really, it is a glitter, I guess, but it's the pretty kind of glitter. The classy glitter. So really what you're doing is you're just, you're inlaying what you want into there. And once we get our resin on top, it will be sealed in there. Normally I would place these after I do a resin coat. We do a seal of a resin coat first.
And so now that I do have this fairly covered, what's the next step in this process?
So depending on what you like, if you like it like this, you can just let it dry. With stain, you have the choice of wiping it off. Now that'll make it a little bit lighter, and you can see what you like from there.
Does that look like I did this right?
I don't know. Do you like it?
I mean, I like the looks of it. I just don't know how, like I said.
Well, then it's perfect.
All right, perfect.
I think it looks really nice.
Okay, perfect. So are we ready to move on to the next step?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So we're going to have a little bit more back from here when we do on to the move on to the next step of starting to finish off our table. But first, we'll go back into the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. Taking a look at current temperatures once again here. 16 still for us here in Lloydminster. 16 also out in Marwayne, Pierceland, and Bonnyville. 17 degrees out in Lac La Biche, Cold Lake, and St. Paul. Vermilion also sitting at 17 as well, as Edmonton sitting at 17. Vegreville at 16. Wainwright, Provo sitting at 15 degrees. 16 degrees down in Macleod. 15 for North Battleford. 14 for Maidstone. 17 in Meadow Lake. 14 for Isle La Crosse. And 15 for St. Walburg and Green Lake. Some other Saskatchewan temperatures. 15s in La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. 13 degrees in La Ronge and 10 degrees out in Flin Flon. A little bit cooler out in South End, sitting at 5 degrees. Wollaston Lake sitting at 4, 9 degrees out in Stony Rapids. Fort Chipewyan sitting at 13 degrees currently, 18 degrees in Slave Lake and Fort McMurray, 15 for Grand Prairie, 17 for Peace River, and 19 degrees for High Level. Take a look at southern Alberta. Much cooler temperatures than we're experiencing up here in the western areas here. So 6 degrees in Medicine Hat, 5s out in Banff, Calgary, and Lethbridge. 14 for Coronation, 15 in Kindersley as we shift over to southern Saskatchewan. 11 degrees in Swift Current, 15 for Moose Jaw and Regina, as well as Yorkton. 13 degrees also out in Estevan. So taking a look at temperatures for tomorrow. Fairly sunny day that we're going to be expecting tomorrow with some clouds as well, but still nice weather nonetheless. We might see a bit of wind though, which could reach over 20 kilometers an hour, kind of similar to what we had today. So 16 for our daytime high tomorrow, as well as in Vermilion, Marwayne, St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Lac La Biche sitting at 17 degrees, as well as in Pierceland, St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, Green Lake, and Isle La Crosse sitting at 16 degrees tomorrow. 15 for Macklin, Maidstone, and North Battleford. 17 down in Provost tomorrow. 16s also out in Vermilion, Wainwright, and Edmonton. 18 degrees in Vegreville and Lac La Biche, and Bonnyville sitting at 17 degrees to follow. So here's a look at the next 7 days. Mostly cloudy skies for, mostly not cloudy, mostly sun and cloud mix there for Sunday. Mostly clear there on the Sunday. 18 degrees on Monday with all clear skies there. 19 degrees on Tuesday with sun and cloud mixes there. 20 degrees on Wednesday with mostly sunny and a few clouds. Then it gets cloudier on the Thursday, Friday with 20 degrees on Thursday for the daytime high and 19 degrees for the daytime high there on the Friday. Like I said, the wind will play a little bit of a factor, so it might feel a little bit cooler than it is, but that's going to be great weather nonetheless for the long weekend. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Well, we are back here once again, and we have just finished actually covering our table with stain. I'm joined by Amber Fast. So Amber, what is the next step here in creating these tables?
So after you stain it and then it dries, we do a primer coat of resin, and then you have to do a final coat. So what we're going to do is we're going to prep this for another coat. So we're going to sand it. We have to make sure we use our eye protection as well as our face mask, so we don't get any particles. And basically we're just using a 220 sandpaper, and we're just going to rough it up a bit.
So how's it looking so far then? Is there any?
So far so good. You probably missed a spot here, a little bit. The edging is the part that a lot of people forget about, so you might just want to go around the edges. Now what I'm going to use is just an acetone. So it's a resin-based thinner. What it will do is get rid of all those little resin particles so they don't show up in our next pour.
So now that we have sanded this, now what's the next step?
So the next step is to put the resin on. So this is a 2-part epoxy resin, and you mix it up thoroughly, and then we pour it on. So what I'm going to do is to get you to pour it on. Pour about half of this into the middle, and then I'll get you to spread it out, okay?
So you just kind of help it along, then is all you're doing with this?
Just careful. Once you get to the edges there, you don't want to push it over the edge.
So still keeping it far enough back because it'll continue to spread?
Yes. So once I get it fairly even, what I like to do is you see how there's a bunch of air bubbles in there?
Yep.
So what we do is we get a torch. We let it settle, let the air bubbles rise a little bit, and then we get a torch and we pop those bubbles.
So just like with the pour painting?
Just like with the pour painting that we did. Yeah, you don't like bubbles in your work. It doesn't look very nice.
So now then, other than that, is there anything else we have to do here? Is that basically a finished product?
That will be basically once we'll take the tape off the edging. This one we didn't pre-stain, so we'll finish off the edging, give it a sand, and it will be finished.
All right, perfect. We will have a little bit more coming back from here, but first we'll go back into the studio.
our question of the day, because long weekend for us at least is just over 20 minutes away.
Yes.
Very exciting, of course. So our question of the day stems from the long weekend. Are you going to go out camping? Because that seems to be a fairly common thing that people do on the long weekend. While 89% said no, they're not going out. They aren't going out. Maybe they got other things going on. You know, like it's mostly like, you know, a chance to sleep in, just relax, you know, hang out with some family, friends, whatever you choose to do, or whatever else you maybe go out to Bud Miller, do any other kind of stuff that you have going on.
Yeah, do errands that you haven't had time to run yet, you know, little projects, all that. But definitely this weekend is used for relaxation, and I'm very well looking forward to it.
I know you're going home. I'm not going home, but I'll be gone in a few weeks anyway, so it's okay. But you know, one thing that I do talk about with camping, I was thinking about this earlier, is that camping, you know, it doesn't have to be just mean, you know, sleeping outdoors. It can mean like, you know, there's more to do, like the fishing, hiking, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
oh, definitely. Going swimming, going boating. You know, there's definitely a wide range of activities that you can do while camping.
Absolutely. Well, we're announcing our pet winner very soon because we always like this part of the week. So let's take a look at the 5 submissions that are eligible to win a Pet Pad gift card. So this is Mew Mew, part of the cat gang.
Yes,
maybe.
I love the bandana. She probably doesn't.
No. This is, next up we have Chongo.
I love the little tongue sticking out. He looks like a black bear.
Yeah,
I love it.
Next we have Archie.
Oh,
I like that name for a rabbit.
So do I. It's you don't really see it on rabbits,
no,
but I love it. It works.
This is Jinxie.
Oh, such a cute cat. Probably wants his belly rubbed.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell. But this is Bart.
Love it. Just chilling
here. Well, if your pet was shown on today, you're automatically entered to win a Lloydminster Pet Pad gift card, which you're giving away in less than 20 minutes.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Welcome back to Primetime Local News. I'm joined by the new Defenseman of the Year for the CJHL, TJ Lloyd. TJ, pleasure to have you in studio. It's been fun to cover the AJHL this season. Obviously, we ran into each other a couple of times with the World Junior A Challenge and then the playoffs where you guys upset Bonnyville and went on to the final. It's one more accolade, I guess, you got. What was your reaction when you got the call and got the info?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, and I was obviously very excited. I got the call from my GM in Spruce Grove there, and I kind of just seen it on Twitter, and a few more people just started to message me about it.
You know, you've had a pretty successful year. In addition to the great career you've had with the Spruce Grove Saints, you guys obviously did better than some people predicted come playoffs, though I'm sure you guys weren't surprised by that at all. And then you obviously had other accolades this year, including with your own team, Defenseman Year with AJHL, and so on. Did that mean a lot to sort of finish your season on a high note, or finish your junior career on a high note, I should say?
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I mean, the way that we finished the season last year with a championship was a little bit better, but to be recognized on the national stage like that is definitely an honor, and that's just a credit to what Spruce Grove does and the great coaches that they have and the great players that they bring into there.
Now let's talk about that decision to go to Spruce Grove, obviously, because you were successful too here in town when you played here in Lloyd, and that's how people know you, obviously. What made you decide to go to Spruce specifically?
Yeah, I think it was kind of at that time you were kind of deciding between like the WHL or kind of the NCAA, and locally there's a lot of great junior A markets that you can go to the NCAA, and I kind of started to open up to my options, talk to a few coaches, and it was actually Jason McKee. I just went to a spring camp, and I guess he liked what I brought there, and I signed a white card with him at the time, and then I came back and played a year of midget, had a lot of fun. We ended up going to the TELUS Cup winning league, and then I went into Spruce Grove my first year, and it was actually a different coach than who recruited me. And I had 2 different coaches while I was in Spruce Grove, but very fortunate. Both of them were really good, and I was really fortunate to be on a very successful hockey team.
And now you said it was that early meeting because there was other coaches in the AJHL who were also looking at you when you made your decision.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of another thing that would have helped play into that decision is guys from Lloyd went to Spruce Grove before, and guys like Tyler Bush and Austin Hunter, and kind of family friends with those guys and the guys from local areas, and just talking to them, they just had a great experience with it. I had family close by, and so it just seemed like a decision that best fit for me, and I was happy with my decision.
And yeah, I guess obviously you've been happy since. What's your most memorable moment having been a Spruce Grove Saint?
100% it would be winning the AJHL championship last year against Okotoks. I mean, they didn't even lose a game after Christmas until playoffs, and then the way that our team was just able to come together, and obviously there's some tragedies that were dealt with in the hockey world, and our hockey team had to deal with those together, and it really brought us closer together. And to cap it off, winning the AJHL is something that I'll never forget.
Absolutely. Now, really quickly, do you have a moment from that game that sticks out to you?
No, honestly, I just remember it was just such a team buy-in effort just from the start. That whole series, we went to Okotoks, we ended up winning 2 in overtime, and it was just a fantastic way to end off that season.
I can imagine. We'll have more with TJ Lloyd on Primetime Local News.
Hey, it's Justin with 101.9 Boom and 93.7 Wayne FM, and here's what's happening. Fast and Curious continues, and it will be coming to a close pretty soon here. Your final chances to win the gorgeous 2019 Nissan 370Z that we're giving away, courtesy of the new Lloydminster Nissan, won't be around for too much longer. This week, you have not one, but 2 locations to enter. You can head over to the Cornerstone Co-op in Vermilion. That's where the car actually will be. You can check it out there. Take a picture with it, do whatever you want. Well, don't do whatever we want, but you get it. You can imagine life with it. Or you can head over to the Cornerstone Co-op in Wainwright at the gas bar. They also have a ballot in there. Got to say hi to the staff. That's the #1 rule. If you've heard me on air, you've heard me talk about that. Got to say hi to the staff. For full details and full contest regulations, you can check out 1019boom.com or waynefm.com. And there's a whole list of where it's going to be next week and when the final draw will be. Next week, we call another qualifier's name, so make sure you're listening if you have entered or if you plan on entering. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of great stuff going on. May is Cystic Fibrosis Month, if you didn't know, and the Wainwright Kinsman and McRae Floor Covering are going to be putting on a fundraising barbecue in front of the McRae Floor Covering store May 25th. It's going down from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and all proceeds will be going to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Get down there, support this amazing cause. You're going to meet a whole bunch of incredible people, and you're giving back to your community, which is so, so important. If you follow us on social media, then you would have seen some pretty interesting things that we're doing over there. Right now, we are giving away $100 gift cards to Optics International in Lloydminster. There's a post pinned to both of our Facebook pages. All you have to do is click on that and check it out. Guess what you think the picture is, and you could be in the running to win a $100 gift card to Optics International. It's a fun contest that we have going on till the end of May. I'm Justin with 101.9 Boom and 93.7 Wayne FM, and that's what's happening.
Furniture supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Back with TJ Lloyd in studio again, the CJHL Defenseman of the Year. Let's talk a little bit about this season, which obviously got you this honor. You guys weren't one of the prohibitive favorites going into the playoffs despite winning last year, and weren't even picked in your second round series against Bonnyville. What was the mentality of this group like compared to last year? What did that run feel like?
Yeah, this year, I felt like kind of a lot more work almost had to be given into it, and a lot more our team just needed a little more direction this year as a younger team, and I think battling injuries all year, our record wasn't necessarily where it showed. But I mean, kind of once we got healthy, it was around the playoff time, and we were able to do some good stuff there and sweep Bonnyville. So that was pretty cool. But just injuries played a pretty big part into our regular season record.
And you guys finally did find yourselves in the way of a bull running through the league, which was Brooks, obviously one of the most memorable seasons in the history of the CJHL and the AJHL, obviously. You guys, while the series didn't last a particularly long time, the games were certainly competitive. Did you guys feel like a bounce or two could have changed your fortunes there?
Yeah, I think so. And just talking about the series prior against Sherwood Park, that was an awesome one, where the players were driving back and forth just across Edmonton, and there were tons of people coming in. That was very cool. And then obviously going into Brooks, you know, we went there and they end up scoring with like 2 minutes left and take game 1, and then game 2 goes to double overtime, and they end up stealing that one too. And when you lose 2 on the road, it's hard, but we came back and we didn't play our best, and we knew that. But hey, like we gave it all season, and they're a heck of a hockey team.
For sure. And now you guys, you're going to take your talents to the NCAA level. So Bowling Green State, so out in Ohio. Did I get that right? Yeah. Which is a program that you were telling me off camera has kind of started to build its way up on the NCAA ladder. Are you excited about going to another level of hockey and also being a student athlete?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It'll definitely be a big challenge, you know, adapting to a whole bunch of new people in a brand new environment. But they do a great job with their hockey team there, and they do a good job with the hockey players and making sure that, you know, people are keeping up with the marks. My mom really liked that side of it.
I bet she did.
Oh yeah.
I bet she was all over that part of the pitch.
Yeah, her being a teacher, of course. But no, I'm very excited there. It's a beautiful place. They have an awesome campus, and we're gonna have a really good hockey team there next year.
Absolutely. And what are you taking specifically in school?
I'm gonna be taking some business classes. Not too sure what the major will be, but kind of start out with that, and you know, gonna be focusing a lot on hockey, but making sure I'm keeping up with those classes too.
Gotcha. Have you ever thought at all about, because you're obviously going to a different country, which I mean, I guess it's been an interesting time politically and other socioculturally, pop culture, all sorts of things that have happened over the past, I guess, 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Did you think about any of that stuff, or are you kind of actually fascinated to see what that's like?
Yeah, I mean, excited to see what it's like, and you know, I have buddies in the States, so I kind of get introduced to that American culture. But I'm going down there to play hockey, and that's why the school's bringing me down. So I won't be focusing on too much other than that.
Fair enough. And marks, of course, because I know your mom's going to wants you to be on that. Now, we talked briefly before we go. We talked a little bit last time when I saw you at the World Junior A Challenge, just about you're kind of looking at maybe doing something in media afterwards. So kind of like you want to be in sort of the analysis or the play-by-play realm, and is it hockey specifically you want to focus on?
Yeah, I think if there was something, it would definitely be hockey. You know, that's something I definitely want to stick with, whether when I'm done playing, and whether that's going to be coaching, whether I'm playing hockey or analyst. You know, I'm always going to stay involved with it, and there's so many different cool aspects that you can take, and honestly not too sure what options will be brought forward.
I'm sure there'll be a few options for you in your future. Thanks once again for coming into studio, and I hope you folks enjoyed the rest of the cast here on Primetime Local News.
Once again, we are back here at the Lloydminster Cultural and Science Center, where I've been learning about the process of making an electricity burnt resin table. As you can see here, this is the one that I stained earlier. The process does take some time, that is, so we did have to kind of speed it up. But again, if you do take the class, which is coming up here in June, the 12th and the 13th, you can check it out. You will get to stain your own, and then again, you'll take it to that final product that we did see earlier, again, with the epoxy resin going on in there, smoothing that out and making sure that you do get a nice table to finish off. And again, if you are maybe looking for some of that patio furniture coming up this summer, it'll be a nice thing to try out, and you can either sign up either here or at lloydminster.ca if you are looking to join and make some nice furniture. So that's all from us tonight. Have a great long weekend, and we'll send it back to Connor and Abby, who will wrap up tonight's news.
All right, thanks very much, Eric. That's very impressive. I kind of want one of those now.
It's kind of cool. You can do something different. You can hang on the wall, make a table out of it. Yeah. You know, there's endless possibilities to it, but it does look super cool. It's a neat, different way to do something. So yeah, that's cool.
Indeed. So right now we're going to take a look at our pet winner, because it's that time of the show where we're very excited about to announce who's the winner of a $50 gift card to the Pet Pad. So let's take a look here. A lot of great entries this week, but there's only one.
Aww, I love that.
Gemina and Angus, of course, the cat trying to be friends with the dog or trying to pet the dog.
Which is weird. You know, the dog is normally the one who's trying to become friends with the cat, and the cat never has any of it. But it's maybe the cat's trying to bug Angus just a little bit.
But very cute. Or Angus is the cat, and not quite sure. But congratulations, congratulations to both of you. And Linda will reach out to you on the Tuesday for details on how to pick up the Pet Pad gift card. But that's going to do it for us here this week, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great long weekend.